Hello and hello. I hesitate to say good morning because I've heard and believe there's truth to certain words having different meanings than we think they mean. And I think with what we know now about all the files that have come out and the fact that the elites believe in the occult and whatnot, that spells are real and our words have meaning and an effect. There was even a study done, if you don't even want to believe in the wild, weird truth, I guess, there's been all kinds of studies done about like frozen water, I think it was, where they said negative things to like one bottle of water and positive things to another bottle of water, and when they froze them, the patterns are different. They did the same thing with plants. They had one plant where they only ever said negative mean shit, and that plant died. And then they had a plant where they only said good positive things, and that plant flourished. So, you know what I mean? So I do believe there's truth to things like that, and I think that there's a lot of words, especially the little bit of law I actually have looked into, where you actually learn like what the word government really means, which is mind control, and all this other stuff, right? And you can call that conspiracy theory, or you can go to fucking Google and say, what does government mean? And it'll tell you the same thing. So, anyway, hello, happy day. How about that? We're gonna do like that. Happy day. Nicole Michelle here with Stand Yourself, which I don't even know if I'm feeling this channel like vibe. I don't know. It doesn't feel true to me. It feels like something I concocted, which I did. But I don't know. We'll see. We'll see if I decide to like wrap it and scrap it, which it doesn't really make sense. It seems to make more sense to just go with it and see what unfolds, but I digress. So I want to come on and be real today, which I try to do every day, but except for when I'm apparently creating a channel and trying to have some, what's the word I'm looking for? Expectation of what it should be. And I feel like when we live within the expectation of what we think things should be, we're definitely not being authentic. Because life is messy and life is chaotic. And I don't care how polished you are, that's not very authentic in my opinion. And I prefer authenticity over like prim and polished, and that's just me. I'm not saying you're wrong if you like to be polished. I'm not saying you're right if you live messy, and that's not what I'm just saying. For me, it's not really who I really truly am. I've always been someone who is kind of clumsy, disorganized, whatever. Like, that's just who I've been and continue to struggle to be, even though I've tried to become more of an adult in my older years. Which is funny because I was just having a conversation with a friend the other day, and I was like, I don't feel like an adult. I feel like a kid trapped in an adult body. Like I'm out here, like they let me pay bills and they let me drive a car and they let me, you know what I mean? Like they don't know who they're dealing with. Like I need an adultier adult, you know what I mean? Sometimes. But I woke up, I know I'm laughing and cutting up now. But that's kind of also a part of who I am, you know. I think a lot of people that have struggled with depression are like that. Like when they're in their own little bubble, like they can be kind of down and melancholy and angsty and whatever. And then when they're on the spot and they're like basically turned on because they're, what in the fudge? They're on the spot, and I know people are looking at me. I know people are watching this. That kind of natural, I don't necessarily want to say charmer because I don't look at myself like a charmer, but like that natural kind of, I want to get a laugh, I want to be whatever, you know what I mean? Kind of class clown energy, I guess you could say, tends to come out. So, but I woke up very fucking grumpy today, extremely fucking grumpy today. I think some of it is probably still the time change. And for a moment there, I was trying to like even blame it on like my PTSD, and I'm like, there's got to be something wrong with me. Nobody naturally wakes up that grumpy. You know what I mean? Like nobody just wakes up and I won't say chooses violence, but like wakes up and chooses, I'm gonna have a shit day, you know what I mean? Or everything's gonna seem off and against me. Like nobody wakes up like with that intention, on purpose anyway. Everybody wakes up, I think, hoping that the day will be better than the day before, or that they're gonna try to make the most of the day or whatever. But I woke up grumpy, and I wanted to blame it on other things, and I was even contemplating what it could be while I was thinking about, am I even gonna do a video today? Because y'all know that's me every Friday. I'm on here like, I don't even know if I was gonna do this shit. But again, I digress. But yeah, I was like, why am I so grumpy? And I know it's because I'm tired. And I'm tired for lots of reasons. I'm tired because I'm getting older. I'm tired because I'm not taking care of myself. That's the thing, right? Like, I want to blame an external, still somehow internal source. Like, this was done to me. Like, this is because of my trauma, and I just wake up grumpy because there's something wrong ingrained in me. And it's like, no, silly head. Okay, first of all, maybe it's because you fell asleep at a weird time, without all your little therapies that you need to sleep, and then you woke up and then did all your therapy things, and then you laid in bed and you scrolled for a while until you were like holding your phone, and it's like, you know, that kind of, that drop that wakes you, like that fake feeling of falling, or like you feel like you're dropping your, you know, you wake up. So maybe that was it till, 1 a.m. knowing you had to get up and be at work early because now we've had a time change and now we've had a schedule change. So I go in on, earlier on Fridays now. So my videos will be coming out earlier, most likely. Maybe they'll have titles, maybe they won't. Maybe they'll have descriptions. Maybe they won't. We'll see. I like to try to do it, but it doesn't always happen. So that's just me, you know what I mean? Figure it out. Like, if you feel drawn to click on it, okay. And if you feel drawn to stay and watch it, okay. And if you don't, also okay. Don't care. But yeah, I was realizing, like, okay, you want to try to blame something silly, and it's not silly, but I didn't want to take accountability that, Nicole, you did this to yourself. Like, you stayed up late, and then I had some WhatsApp call come through at 6 something in the morning and woke me up, which also pissed me off. Because I'm like, don't I have my stuff silenced? And then I went and I looked and my stuff was silenced, and yet somehow some random ass WhatsApp number called me at 6:09 a.m. Maybe that was my cue from the internet to get up. The internet, listen to me, a cue from the, this whole existence around us that I can't think of the name right now because it's that kind of a morning universe, internet. So I'm glad I can laugh about it now because I sure was pissed off this morning, and I thought about it. I'm like, maybe that's me. Maybe I should get up and like do things. But I was tired, and the sleep was more important, and I chose to sleep.
The voice prompt can be interrupted at any time by pressing the top.
Cancel. So that happened, and then I went back to sleep, and then I woke up like a minute before my alarm went off, and then I got up and I rushed around a little bit and got ready and got coffee, and I will say the coffee was not disappointing today, so that's great. In my previous life, which is like I shouldn't say previous life, in my previous chapter is the more correct. I could not drink coffee. We would drink the coffee creamer stuff in the coffee, and like I like a lot of cream in my coffee, and so I would always, it would upset my stomach, so I got to the point where I didn't drink coffee. Then I was introduced to Dutch Bros, and now I'm on crack, so it is what it is. And I know it's the creamer that was messing me up, and so I didn't drink coffee that often in my previous chapter of life, even though I like coffee typically. And I did notice, like, if I really wanted coffee and I made it with like milk and sugar, like it affected me less. Like I didn't have that, like, my stomach feels upset and mad feeling. But anyway, so the coffee is great, is the point that I'm trying to make, and not go off on a weird, unrelated, unnecessary tangent. So yeah, I just kind of wanted to get on and just talk about, you know, I get on here and I talk about, oh, like we're the antidote to all the shit that's going on, and you know, about like unity, and that you're the only thing that you can control, and that's how you make a difference in the world. But I have my bad days too, like everybody else, you know. But I'm sitting here and I'm like, but I don't want it to be a bad day. Like, it's just starting, and I don't want to be on this note all day long. And this is something I'm very proud of myself for, because old me didn't know how the fuck to get off a sour note. If anything, old me found ways to make the sour note more sour. Not intentionally, but just unknowingly, you know, in an unhealed way, like unknowing. Like, I'm not mad at old self. Old self went through a lot. Old self carried me this far, so I'm really appreciative even to old self. You know what I mean? So I was thinking about, I'm like, we're not gonna do this, and I'm like, let's jump into gratitude. And I took a drink of my coffee, and I'm like, damn, this coffee is really good today. Like, sometimes they give it to me and it's a little burnt, and I'm just like, meh. But some days it's like so silky smooth, and I'm just like, oh, this is so good today. So today is one of those days where it is so good. And I'm going to work. I'm on my way to work. I get to get off earlier, even though I was cranky about getting up earlier. It's like there's give and take, right? Like, either you want to sleep in and then complain about getting off late, or you want to get your ass up early and complain about being tired until you hit your groove of being awake. Like, I'm just now getting into my real true awake window. So before I'm really truly awake, I am grumpy. Like, naturally, I am like, leave me alone, don't talk to me, I'm waking up, and I'm not very friendly. Like, you know what I mean? So that is true. Like, I do. That's so funny. I just basically passed the Top Golf, and I got a LinkedIn notification. It's like, oh, Top Golf is hiring. Okay, well, I don't want to work at Top Golf, but cool story. So yeah, I just want to be. I know the best way to get out of that funk is standing yourself, number one. Okay, like, even in moments where I'm not even a fan of myself. Like in the morning when I wake up and I'm grumpy, and I don't like that version of me because I don't like how she is with other people, and I don't like, it's something that's very hard for me to change. But the quickest way to change that is to have some patience with myself and some kindness with myself, and be like, look, Nicole, you just woke up, like, you don't mean anything by it, you know, it's just, that's how you are. When you wake up, you don't want to be bothered till you're awake, you know, like, that's just me. Gratitude, movement, like literally like body wiggles. I was doing this yesterday at work. I was dealing with a girl, perfectionist. She's such a perfectionist, and real hard on herself, like unnecessarily. And it's interesting because I see myself, right? Like, I don't think there's ever been a child I've encountered where I'm not able to relate at all, like where I don't see a part of myself. And sometimes that's great because I can kind of coach and I can kind of guide. And then sometimes it sucks because it's like, well, I didn't figure that out for myself. And even now that I have as an adult, nobody could have convinced me or changed me or otherwise. And so sometimes it's almost like you have to just witness the struggle and try to be a supporting role as best you can. It depends on the situation. But she was like really, really grumpy because she couldn't make a basket. She was shooting a basketball, couldn't make a basket. She was getting real hard on herself, and I recognized it because I have done that, been that, can do that. You know, I can get real hard on myself when it feels like things aren't going the way that I think things should go. And get real frustrated, and then you get real frustrated, and then you suck even more, and so then you double down on being shitty to yourself because now you're sucking even more. You know what I mean? So I had to kind of be like, look, take a deep breath. First of all, it's not that serious, okay? It's just basketball. It's not that serious. The important thing is that we're learning. That's the important part. We're learning. We're learning things. And I said, so take a deep breath and like shake your body out. Just shake it loose. Like pretend like you're a limp noodle and just wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. You know, just kind of. And she started to get better. I mean, there were still times where she was missing and she was getting real frustrated. But, you know, anytime that you can show them in real time, like, I'm trying to help you, and if you just listen, it'll help you. But again, I know, like, when I was a child, how many people did try to help me outside of the people that should have been the ones helping me? like teachers. Like I remember in probably like 4th, 5th grade or whatever, I was the most disorganized, bro, hot mess ass child. Okay, crumpled up papers, fucking like I was a mess. And I wasn't getting things done, and which I talked about before. You know, I was in survival mode my whole childhood. I wasn't trying to like be an A student. I was trying to survive life. And sometimes survival mode, I think, still creeps in and gets in the way. And but I remember like there was a teacher that tried to help me like sort of make these homemade folders on like my little binder dividers so that I could try to be more organized, and I just couldn't do it. You know what I mean? And I think that's kind of the thing. Like for me, there was a time where I was on antidepressants, and while I did find them to be very helpful during that period when I found the right one, like I was just so tired of the med checks. I'm like, I don't want to deal with these med checks, and I don't want to be on medication my whole life to try to feel normal or to try to feel functional or whatever, you know what I mean? And this is just me. This is me speaking to me. And of course, since then, you know, I've seen reports that people that take that stuff long term, it really fucks with their natural ability to produce like the endorphins and stuff like that, the serotonin or whatever. So in the long run, which I didn't know that at the time, I just knew I'm treating a symptom and not a problem. These pills are treating a symptom, not a problem. And as long as the problem exists, I'm gonna be on this fucking medication. And I don't want to have to spend money on medication my whole life, and I don't want to have to do med checks my whole fucking life. And, you know, have to worry about this shit, how it might affect my body. And I tried to do Lexapro, and that shit just fucked me up. Like, no libido, no. I was like grinding my teeth a lot, like, so that shit just did not work for me. I tried another one. I can't even remember the name of it now. And it knocked me the fuck out. I would be there and then I'd be gone. And the person that I was with at the time was very frustrated about it. Like, you're always tired. And I'm like, well, I'm taking this stupid medication so that I can not be so anxious and depressed. You know, like, I can't remember that. I feel like it starts with an S, and it's like got like ORO in it, or I can't remember. I can't remember what it was called, but Zoloft. There is an OLO, but it was Zoloft, or a knockoff of Zoloft or whatever. We almost immediately quit that. I'm like, So, but that's the thing, right? So sometimes you have to recognize when you're treating a symptom, and like I think some symptoms can be like managed, right? But you also have to know when you're basically pouring water into a sieve about a situation, you know, because all the trying of other people to help me in the world probably only out of their frustration to see them pour that energy and time into me and it like not make a fuck. But the problem was you were trying to treat a symptom, and you didn't have the ability to even figure out what the root problem was, which was I had a rough home life. And even if you recognized it, your power to that was limited. You know what I mean? And so I'm just saying, you know, so these are things that I try to do when I find myself in a funky ass mood, or I take a nap. If I'm able to take a nap, I'll go take a nap. I'll do a whole fucking full reboot of my fucking system. Be like, I need a nap. I'm being a bitch. I need a nap. Okay, I need a nap. Give me a nap. Give me a pillow in a dark room, dark cold room. And let me go the fuck to sleep. So I just didn't want to be in a crappy mood, and then getting on here automatically shifts my mindset, right? Because I go from being internalized all the way fully to expressing, sharing, externalizing. And that's a good way for me too to like, and sometimes it doesn't work. Sometimes I'm in such a funky fuck mood, I'll call a friend and I'll just be like, I'm just fucking pissed and I just need to fucking talk to somebody, you know? Or whatever fucking outlet I have, I'll be like, look, I'm just fucking pissed. And I know I don't need to be pissed, and I know I don't want to stay pissed, but right now I'm fucking pissed, and I want to verbalize that I'm pissed, or I want to verbalize that I'm hurt, or I want to verbalize that I'm insulted, or whatever, you know what I mean? I think, I don't know, there's a part of me that wants to touch on some more political stuff, but then I don't know if I really want to either. Like, I'm not necessarily trying to make this whole thing about politics, but that is kind of what governs our lives. And like I said in my previous video, a couple of videos ago, I was talking about how I just decided that I was going to go back to my old Facebook format, which is where when I see things going on and I want to weigh in on it, then I get on and I make a video and I weigh in on it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't need a script. I don't need to plan. I don't need to... could my channel be better overall if I did stuff like that? Maybe, but I'm not necessarily trying to do that. I'm not trying to follow sort of like the protocol, the influencer protocol, because that's not what I do. I'm not a follower. I'm not just things I've never been. I'm not a conformist. The more you tell me to do something, the more I'm going to do the opposite. That's just the way I am. And because of that, oftentimes I tend to be a bit of a spite fucker at times, where, you know, I'll do the opposite, even to spite myself, if it means fuck you. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying that's necessarily my best or most desirable quality, but it is a reality of who I am. And there are times where I kind of feel like, God, you're petty. But then there's times where I'm like, I am who I am, and, you know, it might not be everybody's cup of tea, but at the end of the day, I try to stand on business and be real and keep it real and keep it 100, and, you know, and not cave or bend in ways that I don't think I should cave or bend. I'm not saying that there's never room for bending, you know, especially like in relationships. You got to do a lot of bending in a relationship, you know. Sometimes if you don't bend, you will break. And it depends on how important it is to you. Like, where are you gonna die? What hills are you willing to die on? And there's some hills I'm willing to die on, and there's some hills I'm willing to, like, sit down for a minute and think about it. You know what I mean? But I mostly just wanted to get on and talk about, you know, I was in a funky fucking mood, and even when thinking about getting on here and doing a video, I was not in the best mood, and I felt it in, like, my chest and stuff, that just kind of, like, annoyed feeling of everything's going wrong, everything's pissing me off, you know what I mean? And I feel like when you find yourself in a place where you feel like everything is going wrong and everything's pissing you off, you really need to go inward and figure out how and why the world is presenting itself to you like that, you know? And at the end of the day, my reason is because I decided that it was a better idea to doom scroll until 1 a.m. after I'd slept for a little bit, around like 9-10, I went and I laid down and I ended up falling asleep, and then I woke up and then kind of sort of tried to go back to sleep, but then I was like, I have these weird moments where I'll try to fall asleep before bed, and then I'll be wide awake for like an hour or two before I fall asleep. So that's on me. I can be mad at other people. I could blame the trash can for being in the way of where I put it, because that was one thing that made me mad too. Like, I'm already tired and I'm groggy, and I'm trying to be a functional human being, and I'm tired and I'm groggy, and it's early, and my body's not used to being, you know, on this schedule that I'm on, and is not used to the time shift that's happened recently, and it's just a combination. So it's those things, and so that's the thing where I can sit here and I can be mad at myself. I can beat myself up and be like, you dumb bitch, like, go to bed earlier, you dumb bitch, like, stop doing that thing that you do. Like, once you know you're tired enough to be falling asleep, don't then get on your phone and start doom scrolling. And it's not even necessarily doom scrolling, it's just scrolling. We call it doom scrolling, but what really is doom scrolling? Is that like when you're just looking at, like, useless, pointless shit? Or is that like, I need to look that up. Like, now I want to know, what is the actual definition of, is that just when you lay in bed and you just scroll and scroll because you feel doomed or you hate your life? Or, because I don't feel doomed or hate my life. So for me, it's just regular scrolling as far as I'm concerned. And it's either things that make me laugh or smile or inform me or teach me, or those are the things I try to give my time to more often than not. Not arguing, not whatever. Like, I don't got time to argue with people on the internet. there's nobody's mind I need to change but my own. You know what I mean? And I think the best way to go through life, if you want people to change, is to be the example of what you feel is right and best, and let that be the persuasion. And people are like, how do you do that? How do you get up every morning despite the fact that you're grumpy as fuck in the morning, and then you go through the day, and then you go out there and you try to kick ass, and you know what I mean? Like, because this is how and why. Like, I feel like I lost the plot there. But yeah, so I could be mean to myself about doom scrolling or whatever. Doom scroll. You know what I mean? Not going to bed at a reasonable hour like a reasonable adult. Or I could try to understand, so that perhaps that's a symptom. So maybe I could try to understand, where is the symptom actually stemming from? Why do I do that? And I probably don't know. And I don't know when I might know. And I may never know. You know what I mean? I may never be willing to be honest and accountable enough with myself to be like, well, you do this because, although that's probably not true. At some point or another, I always eventually, I'm going to try to like slip past this truck here. I eventually always try to, it's going to get a little bumpy, try to be real with myself, because I feel like that's the only way that I'm going to grow and evolve, is if I'm real with myself. And the more you deny truth, the more you stay stuck in a place you don't want to be. You know what I mean? The more you play the victim, or the more that you deny truth, or the more that you whatever, the more you stay stuck where you're at, even though that's not necessarily where you want to be. So anyway, I think I'm going to wrap this up because I feel like I'm just doing a bunch of rambling. If you find this video to be helpful in any way or relatable, I'd really love it if you would, drop me a comment. Tell me what you think. What do you experience? Like, am I a one-off? Am I just completely missing the mark of existence over here? I don't know. I think I'm not gonna say I have things figured out, but I feel like I'm having an understanding that unfortunately old me would have never had. And as much as sometimes that sucks, it's also okay, because I think everything has its own timing, and the more that we can accept even that, the easier life becomes, in my opinion. Like, I have my timeline, right? We have our own personal human timeline of like, I want this to happen now, or I'd like this to happen in 5 years. And sometimes we can make that timeline happen, but sometimes timeline is whatever the timeline is, and things happen in their own time and at a certain point. So, but if you are struggling to not be a grumpy person, or you're frustrated, or you're angry, try to sit down for a minute, take some deep breaths, do some like real full. There was some guy I saw a reel, and I don't remember what it was that he said. He had like an acronym for this thing, like it's like where you stop, you breathe, you shake. But it was funny, it was hilarious, because like he goes like, you fucking shake, fuck it, and that helps. Like, I know that sounds crazy, but that helps. That helps more than a lot of things I've done and tried in my life. And gratitude. Try to just name 5 things you're grateful for. I'm grateful for being alive. I saw a dude on my way to go get coffee. Well, when I was coming back from coffee, I saw him. I was going back to drop off coffee and then leave for work. And then when I was leaving for work, I saw him again, and he's out there with this walker, and he's got a prosthetic leg. That's not even like the leg looking kind. It's literally like a stick, like the metal rod. And he's out there walking, and there was a moment where I was like, oh, poor dude, you know what I mean? Like, oh, that sucks, right? And I remember catching myself and being like, Nicole, why the fuck are you doing that? Like, why are you feeling sorry for this dude? He might be out here just being like, I'm grateful I got one leg. I'm grateful I can move it all. That could be what's going on in his mind. I'm over here fucking creating this bullshit. And that's something else I've talked about in the past too, is when you feel sorry for people, you're taking their power. I'm over here feeling sorry for this dude. You don't need me to feel sorry for him. You know what I mean? Unless he's in a victim mentality, he does not need me to feel sorry for him. And if he's in a victim mentality, he's got some healing to do, period. So I guess that's where I'm gonna leave it. But yeah, if you are finding yourself struggling and you're like fucking hating life and the world is crazy, like, I'm struggling with the idea that potentially for the last 30 years our government has been run by another country, basically, by outside influences. This is what's coming to my awareness at the moment. And I don't want to get too into it because I don't really have any facts about any of it. So I don't want to like put false information out there, whatever. So, but that's what's going on, like, in one of my little hamster wheels in my brain. That's sitting in there being like, that's pretty fucked up to think that, you know, I'm almost 44 and for most of my life, perhaps the United States hasn't really been the United States entirely. And that everything that's gone on has been controlled and orchestrated by an outside country. Do you know what I mean? Like, it makes sense, but I don't like it. I don't like that possibility, but at the same time, I'm here and I'm alive and I've overcome a lot of things and I'm a better person for it, and I get to get on here and talk about things and share and spread knowledges, understandings, opinions, promoting other people just to think. You don't even gotta think like me. Don't think like me, just think. Don't think like me, just think. Just think. Not like me. Get information from wherever you want to get information, from as many places that you want to get information. But let it all compile and let it all sit and simmer and brew in your little thought pot up here, and think about it and see what your intuition reflects back to you about this feels true or this doesn't feel true, or I need information more in this direction, or I need more information from this source, or I need whatever, right? Think for yourself. That's my main thing. Hey, think for yourself. I don't care if it's right or wrong, if it aligns with what the fuck I think. As long as you're thinking for yourself, that's all I care about. Don't go out there being some mindless, absorbing, useful idiot, okay? Don't do that. So, anyway, if you can't stand nobody the fuck else today, please stand yourself, okay? If you're grumpy, be kind to yourself. You know? Let yourself off the hook. It's really not that serious. Life is going to go on either way. If you're having a great day, you're having a bad day, the sun's still going to rise and fall. That's just facts. So, might as well not spend all your time dwelling and beating yourself up, because that ain't going to get you anywhere anyway. Ask me how I know. Watch some of my other videos. I'll tell you how I know. But yeah, so be kind to yourself. Be patient with yourself. Be loving of yourself. And if you don't know how to do that, the best way to start is not beating yourself up when you make a mistake. Even if it's something you're working on and you're like, damn it, I slipped again. You just be like, it's okay, I'm gonna get it next time. And when you fail again, you don't beat yourself up because you didn't get it next time. You say, I'm gonna get it next time. You just say, I'm gonna get it next time as many times as it takes for you to get it next time, instead of beating yourself up. That is one of the quickest ways to start learning some self-love. Is just being like, next time I'll get it. No matter how many times you fuck it up. Next time I'll get it. 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 You know? So, take care. Do you. And free think.